let's get right to it. This is Bring It Back WWE. Uh, so that's the name of the video. I might have forgot the name of this video. I can't remember. Oh, I did. I named it right. All right, let's get right to it.
Bring back blood. Now, some recent matches on TV have led to speculation that the WWE may be changing its long-standing policy of not intentionally showing blood on TV. Becky Lynch's recent match against Nia Jax on Raw's 1st January Day 1 special featured a spot where Jax pasted Lynch in the mush, leading to Becky bleeding from the mouth. But should it come back on a regular basis? Join us now as WrestleMania looks at whether WWE
Don't
should
do it on a
bring
regular
blood
basis.
back.
We don't want to
Be
be
sure to
AEW.
subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new website, WrestleMania.com. Now, Dave Meltzer discussed this, as well as how WWE announcers call things. Not only did they do blood in this match, and it was obviously not accidental blood, but they called attention to it. They used the word bloodbath during this match. For a long time, they shied away from the blood. They would always do it on certain occasions, like a big pay-per-view match with Brock Lesnar or something, but this was on TV, and they did close-ups of the blood and they talked about the blood. So that whole thing about the other guy doing the blood is bad for wrestling, well, I guess they changed their tune tonight. Now, that same week, LA Knight's forehead was also cut during his triple threat match against Randy Orton and AJ Styles at SmackDown's New Year's Revolution special episode of the Blue Brand. Once again, the WWE made no effort to take the bleeding wrestler out of the match or even patch him up. While it's unknown whether Knight was busted open the hard way or he bladed, the WWE didn't take the camera off him. A Fightful Select Sean Ross Sapp reported LA Knight was busted open during the match but was said to be okay. Now, these two examples are major departures from past occasions where the WWE brought in medical personnel to patch up WWE superstars when they were busted open. This was seen at WrestleMania 39 during the Hell in a Cell match between Edge and Finn Balor, when Finn Balor's head was smashed after Edge threw a ladder at him. The match was paused as medics tended to Balor, closing up the wound. And while Brock Lesnar was also busted open at 2023's Backlash PLE, many observers felt that this was a case of Brock being Brock and doing whatever he wanted. Brock was thrown headfirst into an exposed turnbuckle, allowing himself to be cut open. Now, even though this was done the hard way, it was said to be intentional, as according to Fightful Select, Lesnar bleeding profusely and seemingly busting himself open up the hard way was intentional and the match went as planned. The WWE also made no effort to hide Lesnar's bleeding or stop it during the match. But does blood enhance a match? Well, that's the biggest argument favoring the use of it, is that it enhances a match by making it more realistic. Wrestling is simulated violence, no different than any action movies. Fans understand that and suspend their disbelief that wrestling is staged in order to enjoy matches and the storylines around it. Proponents of blood in wrestling argue that it's hard for fans to suspend their disbelief that wrestling is simulated violence when someone gets their head rammed into a steel post or clobbered with a foreign object and they don't at least bust open. And most proponents of blood in matches don't argue that every match needs it, although that's different for fans of deathmatch wrestling and other hardcore styles, but there are legitimate times that actually call for it being in a match. It can add to the match's realism and heighten the idea that one or more wrestlers are in trouble. When used appropriately, the visuals can enhance a match tenfold. While blading carries risks, it's not as dangerous as it might appear. Wrestlers don't have to cut themselves deeply as there are many small blood vessels in the forehead. When a wrestler blades, their sweat mixes with the blood, making it look worse than it appears. Some wrestlers will also take an aspirin, which impedes blood clotting before a match, so they bleed a little bit more freely. Wrestlers can also use bleeding with hardware shots, for example letting an opponent punch or elbow them until they bleed. These are just two examples. Promoters use blood in matches for decades and still do, feeling it's an important element in wrestling that fans have come to expect. However, it is not without its disadvantages. And there are several disadvantages of using blood in matches. These include health risks, overusing bleeding, alienating certain members of the audience, alienating advertisers, and alienating TV partners. The health risks are obvious, as wrestlers risk being infected with bloodborne diseases as well as other infections. While these were rare even when blading was commonplace, the possibility of it can't be ruled out. There's also the danger of accidentally blading too deep and slicing in an artery. There should also be limits to the use of it, even if a promotion feels it helps with the storytelling. For example, some uses are gratuitous and at times kinda stupid. A good example is when Shayna Baszler bit Becky Lynch in the neck during a run-in. This angle served no purpose and hurt the build-up for their WrestleMania match. But that doesn't mean that women's matches can't feature it. As mentioned, Becky Lynch was recently busted open during a Day 1 match against Nia Jax. However, having women blade or do the hard way spots to show color is controversial. For example, Dr. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa's Lights Out match featured it, but it seemed to polarize fans. Some fans thought it was time for a major promotion to let women blade, since men have done it for so many decades. However, other fans felt it crossed the line. While there's a case to be made that this is a double standard, it still alarmed many fans at the time. There's also a risk of alienating certain members of the audience. Just as some people enjoy watching buckets of blood spill in horror movies, others wince at the sight of a paper cut. Likewise, some parents let their kids watch anything, while others might stop their kids from watching the WWE if the company starts using it on a regular basis. The WWE needs to be mindful of its advertising and TV partners. Advertisers can be extremely sensitive about this kind of content, going out of their way to avoid anything that comes close to controversy. With the WWE getting more endorsement deals, it must ensure advertisers are okay with this. Otherwise, those big money deals with Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Slim Jim and Mountain Dew could fly out the window. It may not alienate every advertising partner, but the WWE needs to ensure it doesn't. They also need to make sure that its TV partners, and this includes any potential streaming partners, are okay with the use of it. This ties in with advertising because TV partners want the best advertising clients they can get. A highly rated show is good, but it's useless if no subtle advertisers are willing to pay for time on said show. But are the benefits worth the disadvantages? While many wrestling promotions use it in their matches, that doesn't mean the WWE should. Weighing the advantages and disadvantages, it's clear that using blood in matches isn't in the WWE's best interest. Fans have been conditioned for years not to expect blood, yet the company is doing better than ever. Will showing it in matches suddenly send the WWE into the stratosphere? Not likely, so why bring it back given all the risks? While pro wrestling is still looked down upon by some people and advertisers, the WWE has done a superb job elevating its image. Nonetheless, a case of a wrestler contracting hepatitis through blading or something similar could harm the WWE's image. Likewise, a small but vocal minority of complaints about blading could lead to advertisers reconsidering working with the WWE, even if they were initially okay with the wrestlers doing it. So would the WWE revisit blood in matches? Now, the WWE may be open to the idea of using it in its matches, as in early 2023, Nick Khan was asked about the chance of blood returning to Raw's third hour, responding, "Look, when we're specifically talking about the 10 to 11 hour on Raw, we're specifically talking to NBCU and ourselves about what we do with that moving forward. We ask, what do we do if we tweak this, that 10 to 11 hour? It's basic cable. It's not broadcast, as you know. We think that NBCU would be supportive, but we're not on a final conclusion on that." While there are advantages to showing it, especially with older fans who grew up watching it in the Attitude Era and Ruthless Aggression Era, the benefits are outweighed by the disadvantages. Frankly, the WWE needs to bring blood back as much as AEW President Tony Khan needs more time on social media. But what do you guys think? Should they bring it back on a regular basis? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more.
Well, it's not. The shows aren't. Not. I wouldn't say they aren't sponsored, but they're not sponsored by a cable company. Thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna see you on the next.